Hello, this is Stephanie Anthony, editor at New Food magazine. At the Food Integrity conference in Prague, we held a roundtable about the gaps in current research in food authenticity and its impact on the supply chain. With industry-leading participants, the main topics discussed were application of testing, food fraud, database development, and emerging technologies.
I think it's a very difficult question to answer, and actually I think it's the wrong question.
I feel like food fraud is a teenager that's getting ready to go to college, and there's a transition there of maturing.
The practice is upgraded or totally changed, so it's indeed unpredictable.
To test everyone, well, that's just not efficient, and the bad guys are intelligent. Yeah. They're not E. coli.
Yeah. So testing is good when you sort of know what to test for, but sometimes, and very often you don't know, so you need to carry out more types of auditing and soft controls that you spoke about.
I think it's really the interoperability, because for a fraud investigation we don't really care what databases come from, but we do care that there's, and it's some states spoke about big data, we do care that there's somewhere out there looking at all of the big data, so USP being one, the RASA being another, the EMM, the European Media Monitoring System, the Coordinated Control Programme, the zoonosis data, all of this that's been collected, the UAAC system. We need something that's scanning all of these systems, and then all of the chemical data that's available, all of the microbiological data. It's all relevant.
I mean, you need in some ways to share the information with all the different players, and this is the only way to be reliable and also having the possibility to monitor what is going to change during the years.
We start with information we can get and kind of see what we can come up with, and that was the first USP database, was the expert panel looking at what test methods do people use, and so that's the first step, and then we ask more questions, and then it needs more information, and so I think it's still that cycle of becoming more mature, because we know what question we're asking, and then when you say what's reliable or accurate or precise, we now have more clear definition, because we know what question we're asking.
In fact, we have a huge challenge, especially with building up analytical data for food products, is the whole variability of food itself. So data that we're going to put into the database this year, if climate's different next year, could be different again, and maturity of plant products and age of animal products and the way an animal's been fed and all that sort of thing has to be also put into the database to ensure its reliability.
Some of the most reliable databases are actually held by industry, and they're held by industry because they want to protect their brand against food fraud. And some of those industries, not all, but some of those industries are quite happy to work with regulatory authorities.
We're getting to some very specific questions and some very specific needs that a specific agency needs, or a testing lab needs, or a company needs. And I think that's the key. When we start to get to that very precise question, we can then mobilize around it, and if there is a real value, then there's a real value.
But it shows that the big companies do believe that data needs to be shared. They have data that suggests we need to share this problem, because when there's a problem shared, it's a problem halved, and they really want to have the problem because it exists.
I think it's one of the biggest steps forward in food fraud detection from the point of view of industry. So, I mean, it is a UK and Irish initiative. It's called FIN, the Food Industry Intelligence Network. 22 members at the moment, but that represents 60% of the trade in food in the UK and Ireland, and they are sharing data. It's quite incredible. I think that will be one of the biggest deterrents to food fraud, much more than any testing that will go on.
To hear the rest of the roundtable, please visit newfoodmagazine.com.